So we're live, Mr. Quique, on
Live and on air.
on the 6th or 5th episode of
The Dom's Dance Court podcast.
Correct. Thank you for being here, my friend. Tell people who you are, what you do, and how do we know each other.
Right. So I'm Quique. That's what people know me as.
Which stands for? That's a nickname for?
So it's a nickname for Enrique, but like that's my dad is called Enrique, and
It's a very Spanish thing, huh? I was trying to explain it with Anchon, because Anchon's dad.
Anchon's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my case is like big, like 4 lines of Enrique Medina's.
How do you say, what's the translation of Enrique in English? Is there one?
Henry.
Henry? Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's what I was
Henry.
thinking.
Henry.
It's like Pedro is Peter,
Yeah.
Guillermo is William,
Yeah.
or Bill.
Julian is Julian.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah. Enrique is probably Henry.
But you know, a lot of people in America have started to say, "Oh, you're from Spain? Is it Julian? Julian?" It's like, here
No,
they call
no.
it a lot, yeah. But okay.
you
So
yeah.
so Enrique Medina, what do you do? Where are you from? And how do we know each other?
So first of all, probably we know each other is more the setting for the rest of the episode. So I'm one of your closest friends from high school, I'd like to think.
Before high school.
Since before high school, yeah, just about. More or less. And yeah, just known each other for a long time. We passed a lot of the last 4 or 5 years together in the times when we were in Madrid. So I always say that like we've developed our friendship a lot in a sort of leisurely context, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Super good.
Especially after we graduated school, I feel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
High school.
Most yeah, like when we both went out into the world for our education, obviously, but like we were coming back all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
During COVID we came back,
yeah,
right?
during
So
COVID we spent. Did we spend here like 4 or 5 months
straight,
at
yeah. I think it
university
was
straight?
like 2021.
And it was only you and I think that we
Yeah,
stayed.
there was not many. Yeah, especially because Madrid was one of the only cities that was really open during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. I think it was September 2021 all the way to, I think, February 2022. That period was the one that I think, maybe I'm mistaking 2021, but those 5 months were the period where we saw each other the most.
Yeah. We saw each other so much, and like there was also the big snow. From
I remember
back
that.
then.
Yeah.
And then like we were trapped in. We had to meet only at other people's houses and like reduced numbers.
That was crazy. I do feel that was so crazy.
It was like this. I'm not sure you remember. It was like this legal sort of loophole where you could only be at people's houses up until 11, and then from 10 onwards. So you had to party from 2 to 10.
Yeah, we had to
11 to 10
because the curfew, right?
Yeah,
the curfew
so
was what?
11 hours, like for 4 or 5
Dude,
months.
that summer when I came back from Canada, I remember those nights. I guess already in Spain we go out pretty late, but we were going out, like we used to go out clubbing.
We didn't go out.
Yeah, we were going to
were
someone's
here.
house, right? Or in this house. I remember we would come and spend from like you said, like it was right before curfew, so like at 10:45, 11, whatever time the curfew started, and we would stay here 6 to 7 hours. And once the curfew was done, we would still stay.
Yeah.
It was like we were okay to not go.
Yeah, no, it was some crazy times back then.
That is great, and I do agree that is when we got closer. And then I guess after that, you kind of left back. You kind of went back to college. Where did you go study?
Both went back to college. I went back to England.
To England?
Obviously. I studied in Lancaster, and you went back to Canada.
Yeah.
But then, like every vacation, we had pretty long vacations, and we love Madrid. I mean, I love Madrid.
You love Madrid. I mean, you're back now, right? Because
Yeah,
you were gonna be living in London a little bit, and then you changed your mind, huh?
Yeah, I changed my mind. London wasn't for me.
Why not? What about it?
It's just, I guess it's like a bet for the future. Like Daiki was saying, you gotta increase your luck surface area, right? I feel like my luck surface area is maximized here in Madrid. In London, things might happen for me. There's a lot of opportunities, but just different interactions. People, like my network is here. The people that I'm gonna meet, people that are gonna have things happening to them that can splash onto me, or people that I can talk to and be able to do something long term with. Like I can't do anything long term in London just because.
Interesting. And do you feel like you noticed that before going there, or it was something you got to know once you got there?
Well, for me, it was like always the small things, right? So in London, it was the small things, man. Like throughout my 4 years studying in England, I never got an English phone number, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's not an obstacle. You can the roaming laws here in Europe are great, and you can live perfectly fine on a Spanish phone number, but it just shows that lack of commitment long term to staying in that place, you know.
Interesting.
Like same with doctors. I think you did a similar thing where we would come to Madrid for our doctor's appointments.
Oh yeah.
Because all our doctors are here, the people that we know, the people that have our history.
And the service is so easy
and
here.
the service is so much better.
Yeah.
So like all of these things where it was like small things, but they all added up, and eventually it was like, well, if I have to go back to Madrid for everything that I'm doing and to really like enjoy myself,
might as well be here.
Might as well just be here. So
yeah, it's interesting, you know. But I'm thinking now because I relate to you a lot in that. But now I think I've been here officially since I came back from Canada. I've been here now a year. Like it's gonna reach a year. In May. And I'm starting to think that I don't know. It's time for me to go again. You know, like
Yeah, and I mean the grass will always be green.
Yeah, it's true. I agree with you on that one. But I just think do you think it's because we're so used to, like you're also like me, we've traveled so much, we've had the chance of visiting so many countries, of really going and exploring. You know, we wanted to go abroad for college, we did. Then we came back, we were able to. You wanted to go to London to work, you did. You came back, you know. Do you think it's something that is ingrained in us to always want to go and visit because we had the chance to do it, or is it just what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think definitely more you than me.
How so?
You will have that because I mean, I've had a lot of enjoyment with like international experiences and being abroad and stuff. But I've just never seen myself anywhere other than Spain.
For now?
No. Like
ever?
Yeah, ever. For me, like I want to raise my future kids.
I understand that.
I want to live my life here.
I understand that.
And I'll love to visit everywhere. If I can scratch off every
continent
country in the map, great. You know, but nothing compares to my Madrid.
Yeah, but I'm sure you're not the only one who thinks this way, because a lot of people who have the chance to travel, they always wonder, like, should I travel? Sometimes it's like, go figure it out. Yeah. Look, you had to go figure it out to go then realize that it wasn't for you. Or for now, it wasn't for you, right? So I guess, do you have any advice for anybody else who's in that, you know, like in that line of should I go?
Do it.
Always do it, no?
For sure, yeah, do it. But like...
Yeah.
It's always good. You can always come back and say I didn't like it, but you'll always hit yourself in the head if you didn't try. If you didn't do it.
Yeah, it's like test it all.
And then, but it's also worth saying that you need to be smart. Also, right? You've tried the same thing 3 times and you didn't like it any of the 3 times. It's great. You gave it a chance, but also remember just for the next time that maybe you don't like that kind of thing. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And that applies to a lot of people. I know a lot of people that will just like try to do something that everyone else is doing. Just keep on trying and
they follow those rules.
Yeah.
And
and they don't like it. And then they see themselves like doing it. And
I think it's like with this now goes also into just the bigger societal construct as well, that they just follow the footsteps. Like I think in Spain it's a really big thing for a lot of kids to stay at 18 in the household, right? A lot of Spanish families, their kids stay in Madrid, right? Or in the country, they don't really go abroad, right?
Yeah, that happens.
The majority?
Yeah, that happens. I mean, Spain is traditional.
In that sense. Yeah, but that's what I don't know if it's and then this goes again to what you're saying about everybody does what everybody else does, as in they follow those rules and those guiding principles, like putting themselves in that box.
Right. Yeah, and you can see that. You can feel that in the air in Madrid a little bit. So I understand that like more maybe Madrid doesn't have that creative DNA that maybe a city like Berlin does.
Interesting. Yeah, they're not so exploratory.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
yeah, but you can see it. You can see that you walk out into the streets and like every single guy is wearing the same thing.
If they're Spanish, yeah. So that's what Hannah says when she comes here. She's like, it's so easy to know who's Spanish and who's not.
Yeah,
it's true. But this, I think this expands to like a bigger point of in the U.S. and other countries and stuff where people have to choose, majors. They have to choose a career. They have to choose a degree, whatever it is. They're putting themselves in that box, and I think this goes a little bit with what along that line is like.
But like
what are your
even
thoughts
bigger
on
than that, people go to university just because
That's a
people
box.
are going to university.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? On people following these rules that are put by us by maybe our parents, that are put by us by maybe society at large.
I don't think it's a rule. I think it's more of a standard. Like you see people like historically people that have been going to college are going to be doing better in life. That doesn't mean that once you make college massively available, everyone's just going to be doing as good as the next guy who went to college.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It depends.
It depends. And nowadays, entrepreneurial-minded electricians are doing really well, or plumbers are doing really well.
Yeah.
There's no one doing those
jobs,
professional services. And the guys who are making a killing of it.
Yeah.
If you do it with a little bit of brain, like things can go well.
And passion.
Right.
That's interesting. Do you feel like you regret having gone to college at all, or not particularly?
I maybe regret a couple of the choices of my college career.
Like the choice of study.
Like the choice of study a little bit.
Remind us what you studied.
So I studied philosophy, politics, and economics.
But you love that.
I love it. Yeah, of course, I love philosophy. And I don't think I would be in a position to say that I regretted what I studied if I hadn't studied it. So it's kind of like a paradox in that way.
Yeah.
But it's also true that maybe there are other things that are more valuable. Like an engineering career. And I'm not one to say that I would be an engineer, but maybe I could.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all can.
Yeah.
It's like what I was telling Alex was here last week, and he says, and you heard the episode, he was like, I wanted to become the best trumpeter. And I was like, it's not too late, but he believes that because he didn't start sooner, that he cannot be great at it. And I don't know if I fully agree with that, because I think if you right now decided tomorrow you want to be an engineer, what's stopping you from going to learn that and spend 4 years on it, 5 years, and dedicate your life to it and become a great engineer? You could.
Right, yeah.
You could. And he thinks maybe it's a different, because music, it's a more creative skill, and perhaps it takes more the younger you do it. But I still think if Alex is young, if he started right now and spent 5 years becoming the best trumpeter that if he wants and does every single day, 6 hours in the morning, really wants to learn from others and become the best one, he could become the best one.
No, and some great trumpeters only stumbled into the trumpet like way late in their lives.
Exactly. That's why I don't know if I think maybe his perspective, and perhaps this is where I'm paraphrasing wrong, is I think he meant to say, with everything else he has in line right now, his restaurant and everything else where he wants to go and all the other markets he wants to touch and everything, like he said he also wanted to do all these other things, that perhaps he's not able to dedicate what he would have dedicated back then as a child.
He can't obsess over it as much as he would have wanted.
But that's why I think that's the number one thing that I think is so important is for people who are in university, like my brother Jamie, who's still there now. I always tell him, it's like, now is your chance to go explore that curiosity. You want to become a trumpeter now, Jamie, or in Jamie's case, you want to sing and become a singer because you have a beautiful voice. Go explore that now, because once you get to where, even in the next 3 years when he's graduating, he's going to have less time because he's going to have other obligations that are going to pile up, right?
Yeah. I also think that maybe if singing isn't the thing that inspires his passion, I'm talking because of course I've heard his episode. Maybe something analogous to singing, and maybe there's so much out there. Like you don't know anything that's gonna be happening with the future. We don't know any of the things that are going to be coming up next. Who could have come up with an AI that can write you a
cover letter in like 2 seconds? Yeah, I get you on that. But do you understand my point of what I'm trying to say? I just think that we all need to give. You have a passion and you want to pursue it. Like, it's not too late. It's harder when you're older.
But
of course, it's still not too late.
No, it's never too late.
Yeah.
and finding a passion is hard,
Mm.
because people think that a passion is just something that you'll want to do forever, always.
I don't think you find a passion. I think you choose one.
You choose your passions.
I don't think you find them. Like I think some people find them, but that's very rare. I think you choose it, and then it's like anything. You will like something the more you do it, and the better you get at it. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The more you like it, and the more likely it is to become a passion.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I mean by choosing. It's like you right now, like if you right now, let's say your passion was philosophy, which it may be, right? No, but you love it. You love it. But let's say for the sake of this example, let's say philosophy was studying philosophy and studying great philosophers was your passion. The more you did that, and the more time you invested in that because you chose that to be your passion somehow, the better you get at it, and therefore it ends up becoming a true, and you build with that passion. Do you see what I mean?
Right. Yeah. There's a danger to that,
Which is
if I just spend my whole day philosophizing.
of course not.
or like writing books or whatever. I still have to, make something out of it.
Yeah.
Like it's great that you found your passion and you like writing and you're doing all those things, or you're doing singing. Great, but is it working for you?
Yeah.
Or
that's why I say build with the passion. Build with the passion.
Yeah.
It's like choose it or find it if you can. If not, once it's chosen or found, build with it.
Yeah.
That's what you can do with it. What would you say is your passion right now today?
Today, like I don't think I have a passion today. I've loved golf the past 45 years.
And it's not your passion?
I would say that has been my passion for a long time.
And what changed now? You've done it too much.
Just transition period, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm in a like I kind of found that like I was never gonna be able to do anything with golf. Right at the end of the day.
Okay.
I love golf as much as the next guy, and I love playing it, and I love being out on the course with my friends and stuff. But it's not what I want to do in my life. Yeah. At the end of the day,
I understand. It could just be a hobby.
Yeah, it's still a hobby, but like I treated it as a passion for the last 4 or 5 years because I really wanted to get good at it. I really wanted to be able to play well
and compete.
Yeah, and I find the mechanics of it beautiful, and I find like learning how to play it like a really interesting game. So there's something to it, but at the end of the day, I can't say that it's my passion because it's not something that I actually want to build, as you're saying.
Interesting.
I want to build with it.
So now you don't have that. You don't have a new passion.
Now I guess I'm in a transitional period.
Okay.
I don't know where I want to go next. I guess I'm just philosopher right now. I'm philosophizing a lot.
Yeah, that was going to be where I wanted to take the conversation.
Right.
I want you to share a little bit with me. How did your love for philosophy start? Where did it start? And what do you make of it at large?
I don't see philosophy as a subject. I think that's mainly the main thing. Like philosophy for me is just a way like thinking. It's debating ideas in your own head and then maybe taking it out, talking to other people about it, seeing what they think, and just like finding out, getting to the root of concepts, I guess is the big part. And then once you do that, it's easy to just open up everything in your life. It's easy to open up concepts, open up all these possibilities start arising from I guess just very simple things. And it can make life endlessly complicated. It has, I would say. But it's also just really fun. And I wouldn't say philosophy is my passion. Like I'm saying, it's just like an attitude that I have towards the world.
What about it do you love so much?
I don't like. I wouldn't say that I love it. It's just like an attitude that I have.
But like, what about what draws you versus the next person to like it more?
I guess I don't think I like it more than the next person. I'm just more open to it than and like I guess it's just like letting my curiosity, like my childlike curiosity, run free. At the end of the day, and it's taking
you towards curiosity, towards philosophy. Okay.
Yeah, but philosophy is just a way of exploring that curiosity.
Yeah.
Some people explore it with music. I don't have any musical talent at all.
So you take yours is through the lens of philosophy.
Yeah, for me.
Okay, I like that answer.
Yeah,
I like
I
that
guess
answer.
that's what.
Any
it comes
philosophers
down to.
that are on your mind these days more than others?
I guess I love the Stoics. But
Yeah.
I love me a good Stoic.
Who doesn't?
um,
Yeah, any that come to mind though? Any you can?
yeah, I
Any
mean,
that
I
have
love
been-
Seneca.
Okay.
I love meditations, obviously.
You read some of their books?
I've read Meditations. It's a boring book. The Stoics were boring people at the end of the day, but I mean, it's just coming to peace with being boring is what's being a Stoic is about.
Or what's seen as boring.
What's seen as boring, yeah. For our viewers, it's very boring. But yeah, it's like coming to peace with it, I guess, at the end of the day. Coming to peace with everything. If you're boring, you're boring. If you're you gotta be mundane. You gotta be happy with being mundane. And that has taken me to Adler a lot.
Oh yeah?
In recent times. There was a book that I told you about the other day called The Courage to Be Happy or something like that.
By who?
Couple of Japanese guys. Can't recall the names right now. Put it in your
I'll check it out.
Put it in your
in my list.
In the book list or in the Amazon link that you wanted to. That's a really good book.
Okay.
For self-development. That's it emulates the dialogues of Plato.
Okay.
You know, he wrote down some of the things that Socrates told the people around the town, around the polis. He like Socrates would go around and talk to people, and basically just the old podcast thing.
Okay.
Like
I'm gonna link that book.
How podcasts came to be is a lot to do with Socrates and his conversations with kids around the city, and he would talk to them about a certain topic and just break down their whole conception of that thing, and then by the end of it they would be like, you know what, you're right, I was thinking about this all wrong, and then he did that enough times that like the elders of the city were like, yo, you're kind of corrupting the youth, man. And corrupting the youth meant like breaking down the values and breaking down the sort of fragile thing that is society, which is all these rules that we keep. Philosophers have that power to question them and to really break them down and to sort of, I guess, tumble down all these assumptions that we have around them. And then if you don't have a philosopher, a mind that is fine with philosophizing, then you can just feel that your whole worldview has broken down. When in reality, if you had just thought of it a little bit more deep, you would find that all these things are you can easily break them down, but like common decency keeps them together.
Wow, I love that answer. I love exactly. I don't have much words for it because it's a really interesting reflection, you know, on the topic. I do find this topic so interesting. I didn't dive into it till recently, till I think November, thanks to Anshon, who got me the Daily Stoic book.
Oh, right.
So just seeing that, I didn't know that's how they started podcast either. That's such you just taught me, and you think.
Well, I mean, that's my
your view
interpretation.
On it. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. I like the interpretation. You know, believe in what you believe. You know.
Yeah.
Be confident in what you say. At the end, it might be true. I do like that. I do like that perspective. It's that book though, the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday.
Yep.
I don't know if you've read it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like one page a day for the whole year, and it's cool because like you only read that one page legit in 2 minutes, probably even less for some people because they're really short. But there's that one quote, you know, by one of the Stoics, and then it's the book or the page on the day. And such for me has been so good to read it morning and go through my day. I let my subconscious munch on what I just read.
Right.
And then by the end of the day, in the afternoon, I'll probably read it again just to make sure I understand and then sleep on it.
Sleep on it.
I think the power of the subconscious, right? To munch on it when I'm not paying attention.
100%.
It's how do you go about reading your stuff? Is like, do you have a certain way about it? Because I know that you were the one who showed me, and I like, this is what Quique tells me. I saw you one day, I think we were spending the summer together, and you were reading like 3 different books at once. I remember I would see him in the morning reading one book, and then later that afternoon, same day, you're reading another one. And then later that night, again, same day, you're reading a third one. And I was wondering, I was like, dude, how are you reading? Because for me, it was, I can only read one book, and I finish that book, and then I can move on to the next one. And you know what you told me? You're like, you watch many TV shows at once, don't you? I really liked that answer. And for now, I'm now reading 4 books. And I think it's kind of a curse because now I'm like not finishing any.
Yeah.
Do you ever finish them?
Right. I finish them all.
How do you know which one to go to, from when to what? Like, how do you go
for me, it's super simple. I just, I think of books exactly like I do a TV series, right? Or like any media that I watch. So I start with, I have my page turners. That's a novel that I'll love to keep reading, and it may be like the most cheesy, cheap, sort of leave you on the edge of your seat the whole time sort of book.
Okay.
Which is like complete fiction or something like that, and those books are just fun to read. You know, like they want you to keep reading. That by design, that's how they're made. So that's how I keep my pace. That's a book I use to keep my pace. So I'm always wanting to read that book. And then it's just about like the strength to the self-determination to not read that one and then read another one, so that I can, if I cycle through all my books, then I can go back to that one.
Interesting.
Right? So then I have my other books that are more like documentaries in a sense. These are the nonfiction books. These are the so I read a lot of like microbiology. I'm reading microbiology these days. I'm reading these books on like the sheer scales of numbers.
So cool.
And like sizes and materials and
it's cool, no?
It's very cool, and it's just all these sorts of things that I could be getting them from videos. But I feel like it's healthier if I'm reading them.
Yeah, and not only do you feel it's healthy, you probably also just enjoy the act of taking the book and reading page by page.
Yeah, and I really enjoy the act of just sitting.
Because you don't have a Kindle, right? You actually have the physical books, or you have both?
I do both. Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
It depends on the moment.
I was thinking of getting one, and then Anton was sitting here. He says he loves getting secondhand books, or third, fourth hand. Like he loves the passing of it, like the story and the history that book holds.
Right. Yeah.
Passing it down through generations, and like I'll see like my Aruna, my grandma, her father was an author because he was a diplomat, Indian diplomat traveling across the world. So he has great stories. I'd love to get Aruna one day here and tell the stories of her as a child visiting. They met the Kennedys when she was like 12. They flew around.
Aruna will have stories for a couple of episodes. Yeah.
For a couple. And I want to get her in because she started writing her book, never published it. I'd love to publish it for her. One day, I'd like to publish a book. So one day, if I can figure out how to go about that, which I know is easy, I'll get her to publish hers, because hers is about her life story and stuff. But what she told me, and what I love, is I got the first book her father released, so my great grandfather, right? And I have it here. I'll show it to you later. But the copy of it, you will touch it, man. It's like probably 100 years old. Yeah. And you see it, and you're like, whoa! Like this is. Yeah,
you get a sense of the history of it, and like that.
And the smell.
It's true. It's true. That doesn't happen with Kindle or like the electronic medium in general.
In general, yeah. But the smell was crazy. I want to show it to you later before we go. Remind me.
Yeah.
The smell. It's weird. Maybe it's weird that I'm spelling books, but
no. It's good. It's good. The smell of a book is interesting for sure.
I love
people do love it. Smell is really, really important. It's not important. It's one of the most powerful senses that we have, like more so than sight or like a smell can evoke a memory from like years and years and years.
It's crazy,
years.
Right?
Yeah.
And you instantly are transported back. You're like, where am I? Right. I have a question about the reading for you that just came to mind, and before I forget. Let's say I know you're in a relationship, but firstly, does your partner read as much as you?
No.
Has that been a problem in the relationship in your end? Because I know there's two kinds of readers. Some that can read anywhere with anyone, like you. I know I've seen you. Like you, this guy is able to read with like 7 people in the room having a full-on conversation, and you have like you block them.
Yeah,
it's a
just
powerful,
I'm in
thing.
my world. Yeah,
It's a
for
powerful.
sure.
It's a beautiful. I mean, you're being sucked into that world, which is cool. But which a lot of people can't do. Me, for example, I will struggle sometimes to read if there's even just my dad there on the phone. Maybe when there's more, maybe the more voices and the more people, the better. It's like a coffee shop. I'm able to read at the coffee shop, so maybe that resembles it. But how would you go, and what's your advice for people who are in a relationship? And now this goes maybe a little bit broader to when your partner doesn't perhaps do the same things as you. Because for example, let's say I love to write in my journal every Sunday like I do. Let's say my girlfriend doesn't, which is not the case because she does. But let's say she didn't. In this case, for the books, how do you go about it? If you don't mind sharing.
I don't think I know how I go about it.
Okay.
I guess I respect her time. Me and my girlfriend, there's so many things that we do have in common, right?
Okay.
So I probably don't read as much when I'm with her.
Okay.
As I would if I wasn't with her. But that's just one of the things that is beautiful about a relationship. You know, I've had the past year, 2 years, 3 years to read as much as I've wanted. Every single second of reading that I wanted, I had, and I did, and I used. And now I'm just doing other things, I guess. I'm doing plans, going out a lot, going out like to do things in Madrid, or like outside. I'm cooking. I'm going out for like aperitivos here in Madrid. Just a lot of different things that maybe I wouldn't have done as much if I had, because I didn't have someone to share it with.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that you can do with your girlfriend that like you just need to find something that you share between the two of you.
Yeah, it's a great point.
That's how I spend my time.
I think it's a common misconception that when you have a partner, you are way less social. I don't know if I agree. I think it depends again on the relationship, on the nature of the relationship, the time, the context.
Yeah, every relationship is its own world.
Of course. Right? But I think it's a common misconception that people will tell you, oh, you have a girlfriend now, I'm never going to see you. I wouldn't even go too fast with that. Like,
right, yeah.
Like I've seen you quite still the same amount, whether you're with your girlfriend or alone or with both of you. And sometimes people don't do the idea of, let me invite them both. I have a plan. Oh, I can, Quique is with his girlfriend probably. Like, dude, either tell him to come alone, like I did today for our plan later.
Yep.
Or sometimes if it's a plan that involves multiple people, bring your partner.
Exactly. And I think that's a weird thing that happens these days.
Why do you think that happens?
Where there's like this culture of my friends are my friends, and they don't change, right? I can't bring new people into the. You break those rules all the time.
How so?
Because
you mean bringing people in?
Yeah, of course. You bring people into the group all the time.
Yeah. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. No, and it's fun. It's like it's a great thing. It's a great skill to have.
We have to break those.
It's a great skill to have, obviously, and it's very important.
Dude,
I love it. You know that I love it from when you do it.
I know. You're actually one of the best ones. Like today, for example, later we're going to. We got invited to watch a soccer game or a football game at a stadium for a team that we don't support, but it's fine. We're getting invited. We're very grateful.
I support them.
Oh, you do? Since when? It's like Real Madrid's biggest rivals.
The other guys.
Oh, okay. Betis. Okay. Yeah. And I'm bringing one person you only know, and then the other 2 you don't know. Like I love that idea of mixing people who don't know each other, and love being that bridge between 2 people who maybe now you're gonna end up meeting Colin, the buddy who's coming, and you might get along with him super. Maybe you won't, and that's fine. But maybe you will. And like, I just loved doing that. I think a lot of people don't do that enough. You know, it's like you said, it's such a way to break that stereotypical thing of always the same group, always the same mundane nature of.
But and it's not necessarily mundane. Some people have a lot of fun in their group.
Fair.
But they think, oh, that this fun is only for me because it's my group and it's my friends. But it's not like that. They're just people. They're people like you and me, and they would love to meet other people just like you would love to meet other people. Maybe.
Yeah. So you feel like ever since you've been in a relationship, you've not necessarily suffered in the social realm. You've probably even excelled, you're saying. I've
some aspects have. I recognize my own shortcomings. And some aspects I've maybe neglected a little bit.
Okay.
I missed our yearly trip this year.
We all did.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't physically in the country at the time we were doing it.
Like when we went to Barcelona.
Yeah.
I guess like that counts as a trip, but yeah, but it was much shorter than what we usually do, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Just to give some context, or do you want to give the context, please?
No, well, I mean, yeah, we normally our friend group, because we're in the same friend group, as I said before. We usually do like this big trip, multi-adventure.
It's us and 3 other lads.
Yeah, and it's our and it's the group. And it's like the trip that we always do, and we it's the one thing that we keep sort of
in place.
The 5 of us, and like every year
we've been pretty good at it. Even in college, it's pretty funny. Like we started 2020, the first one, during COVID, when we all came back from our respective colleges. Everybody was, Nate was in England, Alois in England, you were in England, Pedro was in. Actually, we were all in England except for me.
Yeah.
And then we all like would come back 2020. And where did we go the first year? We went to like the south of Spain, huh?
No,
north.
We always go to the mountains, somewhere lost.
Oh, we did canyoning the first year.
We always go somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Just us 5, the lads. We get a like a big house, because those
tiny little villages,
abandoned towns in Spain,
and they're so cheap.
Huge houses for very, very cheap. So it's very fun. It's like a really cool thing to do. And it's like, I was watching Tag the other day. You know the movie?
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've watched it.
Well, I mean, like every year they sort of get together and they play tag for a month.
Like friends?
Yeah, like a
for
friend
a month.
For like
how
a
the hell are they playing tag for a whole month?
Well, I mean, because you go and catch someone, and then they might be across the country. This is in the U.S., so like, they have to fly over to New York from California, go tag the other guy.
Oh my god!
And while
seems like an expensive game.
Yeah, their whole life is happening around them, but they're playing every month. They're playing tag, so it's like it's important to keep these things and to keep friendships. I remember your dad when we left school. Your dad was like
at graduation dinner. He said that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Keep these friendships, because they're the deepest ones you'll have.
It's true.
And it's true to a certain extent, obviously. But it's very important, yeah. And I've always kept those words to mind. So things like this is for me very important. So I really regret not having been on that trip.
But I understand that, and I do love, and he said that today before we started the podcast. He told you, it's cool to see you guys are still friends. Like, what do you mean? but I just want to talk a little bit about the trips, because now that you brought that back, I think they were such a great, like, it was funny. That first trip we took, like the first one, we had no clue what we were doing. I remember Pedro just had the idea of, and that's what it takes sometimes. You need one person in the friend group to initiate and just say, hey guys, what do you think of doing canyoning? And we had no clue. I had never done canyoning before, had you? Had you? Oh, you had?
No.
Or no?
Okay.
I mean,
no.
Yeah, I don't think any of us had, except for
it,
Pedro.
to be honest.
And I remember when Pedro says, okay, guys, let's do this canyoning. And then everybody else had a different kind. Like, I started looking into Airbnbs and where to do it. You were looking into like, hey, I'm the only one who has my license by now. We were all 18 at the time. You are 19 or 20. You had just gotten the license.
No, I had to get
20.
it. I still had to. I got it the day before we left.
Oh, you got it that week. You were the first one in the friend group, though.
I got it the day before we left, yeah. So like the trip was in the air right up until the moment I got
the trip was in the air because we didn't know if we could drive there, 5-hour drive, 6-hour drive, or take a train.
Yeah.
And we were like, and Quique was like, no, guys, I'll pass my exam. Like, I'll pass my exam. It'll be fine. I'll pass my driver's test. And we didn't find out till the day of, or the day before. You're right.
Yeah, the day before.
And then, would you like to share a little bit of the ride there?
Well, I mean, no.
No?
So yeah,
we'll leave it up to interpretation.
Up to interpretation, but I crashed my car. Basically,
we were fine. We were fine.
Short story short.
We were fine. It wasn't that big. It wasn't that big of a crash.
Right in front of the police station too. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And it happened. Also, I want to add, it happened after the 6 hours. Like, we drove for 6 hours, no problem, all great.
Yeah.
We get there. We're in the town. We're like 10 minutes from the Airbnb. Yeah. And it just happened on that roundabout.
Yeah. Thank God it was just you and me and Pedro in the car.
Yeah.
Like half the other guys, like after this whole thing of like we can't go on the trip, we won't have any way to get there. Like half the guys just didn't even come with us.
They all they went their own way because they were worried about you. Their parents, which understandably, their parents were like, hey, we don't feel too comfortable going with somebody who just got their license for him to drive 6 hours in a stick shift car. Understandable. So, I mean, me and Pedro were fine with it, but I mean, the way I saw it was, if you're passing your license, like, you should be fine to drive.
And I wasn't, but
you were fine. You were fine, except for that little thing. Again, It was a minor thing, and then the motorbike that crashed into you was going so slow. You were going pretty slow. It wasn't that.
It was like nothing happened. It was
nothing happened whatsoever. I remember though, the guy kind of had a little bit of a scratch, and he's like, "Guys, you really fucked up my weekend." I'm like, "Did we? Like, you're moving it, right? You're not hurt. It could have been way worse." He's like, "Yeah, but like my weekend." I'm like, "Dude, you're fine. Like, this could have been way worse." He's like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." I'm like, "Can I interest you in like some?" Like we had some chips or something from like we got like he's like yeah, because you were dealing with the paperwork. So while you and Pedro were dealing with the paperwork, I'm dealing with talking to him. I'm like, also like he's like, but look at this. I'm like, here, okay. I had some anti wipes. What do they call those? Alcohol wipes, the swabs, alcohol swabs. And I started doing it for him. He's like, ooh, it burns. I'm like, yeah, but do you want me to take it off? I'm like, yeah, I guess. It's like this guy who made, and at the end he was fine. I was like, I hope you didn't ruin your weekend. He's like, no, you didn't. That's great.
It's good. You've always been the HR guy.
The HR
right?
guy.
I think so.
That's so funny. But that trip was cool. That house was so cool. Was it the one that was? Oh, it was the first house was super cool. The first house was the best one. With the two like we had that big when you got that bird. We're outside just chilling one day in the balcony, and Quique, we're all just talking. And out of nowhere, this guy just, I remember that. He's like, guys, look at this, and he had a bird in his hand, a real life bird.
Yeah, I have that power.
You're one with nature, you, huh?
Yeah, I love that. I love nature.
That trip was cool. We were very much in nature. Like I remember seeing the sunsets, smoking up by the sunsets. That was a cool trip, man. I really got really close to all of you that trip. Really,
yeah,
like closer than what, because we hadn't seen each other for maybe, it was our first year in college, and COVID happens. We just come back.
Yep.
And going like so far away, spending 5 days. We did canyoning one day, and then we hiked the other 3. Every night just chilling, playing cards, truly not going out. Like truly, like you said, connecting on a deep, intimate, we're just playing cards, having fun, smoking up, having a couple drinks, like going to bed at a reasonable time, waking up the next morning early, going on a hike, having breakfast, cooking together, making sandwiches. Dude, it was a cool trip. And I'm proud to say we did that 3 years consecutively.
3 years in a row. Uh-huh.
Where did we go year 2? Also up north?
Every time we went to the same place.
No, except for the third one.
Same area.
Except for the third year. Third year we went to France.
Oh, third year we went to France.
Yeah, that was cool because one of our buddies had a house there. Who housed us.
Right.
That was cool. But but wait, I just want to say something.
Different vibe.
The second year, did we do canyoning again? Second year, we did.
Yeah, we did a similar sort of canyoning.
Oh, with the big family.
Yeah.
First year was canyoning alone.
Kayaking, also kayaking.
Oh, the rafting, dude! We did rafts down those waters, those big waters. That was okay. It wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
The canyoning was cool with that big family. Remember that big family that was with us?
Yeah.
That was a funny trip.
No, it's a great trip, and I like what I was going to talk about is that I like how it's also grown with us. So first couple of years we were college kids, we love adventure, all that. So we went canyoning 2 years in a row, and then last year, 2 years ago now, we went to the wine tasting.
Oh, we did wine tasting in France. Yeah, that really evolved with us. It's true.
So
that was a fun one as well. The wine tasting.
So I think that next year we need to come up with something that
it has evolved with us.
Yeah.
Our almost 25 years of age. That's crazy. Yeah, what will we do? But it's cool. I really enjoyed that wine tasting one in France. That was a cool experience. We didn't do canyoning. I know we hiked that one day. We hiked like 3 hours, 6 hours that day.
Yeah, that was
swam
a
in
rough hike.
And swam in cold water. And and after you remember what happened that night, our last night there, we had a little bit too
technical problems.
Yeah, a little bit too much. But it was fun. It was a really fun trip. I just thought that whole trip it was like you said, we evolved to like wine tasting, whatever. But then that last night reminded me of it stayed the same. Like us smoking up and doing that and getting a little bit too high. That was funny. But that was such a good trip. Where should we go next year?
That's interesting.
What do you think?
I'd go like Greece or something.
Oh, you want to go exotic?
Well, Greece is right next to us.
I wanted to do Morocco.
Morocco's cool. I would do Morocco.
That'd be fun. Like visiting a city.
Somewhere close, but not so far.
Because we haven't done city yet. What we've done so far has been very nature.
Yeah.
And adventure-wise, like you said, which is cool. But it could be cool to do a city. And I don't know, because I like a lot the idea of staying home, playing cards, like deeply connected.
I like being out in the middle of nowhere. I really like that. I feeling that it's just us for a while. I mean, like obviously the people in the town are there, but like they have their own sort of like very
Mm.
disconnected from our reality.
Yeah.
Like we do different things. So yeah, I mean, like going out to the Atlas Mountains or some sort of desert in Morocco would be really, really cool.
Why don't we plan it for this coming summer?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
We
let's
should.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's do it. We'll start doing you and me. We start looking
Okay,
into it, and then we start delegating. I mean, it's gonna be harder with Nate, who has his job in the U.S. I may be in the U.S. by the end of the summer. Maybe before that, we can do a little trip before I go. Same with. I mean, they're also in England.
Who's in England? Pedro?
Yeah.
No, Pedro's in
Pedro's
Barcelona.
in Barcelona. Okay, that's not that far. And Alois is in
And
England.
then Alois. But like, if we're all flying, we just have to fly to the same place.
Yeah.
Um,
Could be cool to do. Pedro's been wanting to invite us to Mexico, right? So it could be cool to also do the Mexico trip.
Mexico could be cool. I was just been in Mexico.
Oh, you were just there? When?
I was just there.
What?
Like this Christmas.
Oh, with your family.
Yeah.
I forgot you were there.
Yeah. So maybe Mexico, put it in the list. But Morocco could be really cool.
What's the most beautiful country you've ever visited so far? What comes to mind instantly?
From the point of view of just like being nowhere,
Or in general,
Kazakhstan was really cool.
Yeah, when were you there?
So I was in Kazakhstan just before I joined, just before I came back to Spain.
Okay.
Like definitely. And Kazakhstan was really cool. Like we lived in I went hunting with my dad there.
Nice.
Yeah. So like walking through the mountains is like, it's very similar. Like I remember this first trip. Because a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, you guys weren't so versed in Spain, right? So like when we drove through the countryside to get to this place, like you guys would say, "Oh, like this reminds me so much of Arizona," or like this is so much like Colorado. I was like, "No, bro, this is Spain.
Yeah.
Everything you can find everywhere, and things are very similar. Nature has a way. That's what fractality does, right? And it's very similar in a very peculiar way. So things are. You can definitely tell it's the same place, but it's the same sort of geological formations, but it's got its own little taste, right?
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
Kazakhstan in this way was like super barren. There was nothing but huge mountains, like big rock slides with but you don't imagine the scale of a rock slide on a mountain like that, right? I've seen rock slides in Sierra Nevada. I go Sierra Nevada all the time, but the rock slides there are very small because the mountains are very controlled. But when a mountain really slides, like when it falls, and that's a terraforming sort of aspect of it. Big rocks fall, and you see a rock that's like the size of this room, and you think, how could that have fallen from anywhere?
Yeah.
But it's the sheer scale of it. It's very, very, very humbling, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool to see that and experience that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
For me, those are really cool experiences, and that's why I want to go to Sahara. And I want to go to the Arctic, just to feel
to explore it.
Things in scale.
I agree with that. I agree with that mentality. That's why I'm a big advocate for traveling around abroad, going to spend time out. I truly do. For me, what I relate to that is when I went to Iceland for the first time. I think Iceland was the best place that I visited.
Yeah.
Man, so far it was. Have you been to Iceland?
No.
Dude, breathtaking. We need to. Maybe we should do the trip there.
Iceland, yeah, Iceland could be.
Maybe
really
we should
cool.
do the trip there. Honestly.
Summer Iceland is really fun.
Yeah, I went there in June. 22 hours of sunlight.
Wow.
Like I remember it was like midnight.
Maybe we go crazy like midsummer.
Maybe, dude. We were
that
like,
does something to you.
Dude, it's crazy because we were outside like playing football at like 1 a.m. and then the sun would finally go down at like 3 a.m. till 5, like 2 hours down,
Yeah.
and then back up at 6, barely down. I was like felt like 6 p.m. here, and man, I remember it felt like we were barely sleeping. We were barely sleeping 3 to 4 hours every night. We were there for 4 nights, and it felt like just a very long nap.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it felt like, okay, wake up and take a nap, and then it just felt the same thing. And we were fine. Because I guess that's, you know, they say with the melatonin and the sun hitting you that you're just always going.
melatonin is very important.
But also, I think that the the idea of what you said before, visiting and exploring and touching things, being in that
Wanderlust.
nature and scale was the wanderlust. Exactly. That was cool.
Yeah, I think that Iceland is crazy in that way because there's so many. Again, it's got so many different things and so many different types of formations and like geological aspects, and it's so small. It's way smaller than Spain, and it's still got like all this rich variety of things they can go. And so it must be a crazy experience. I've never been, but I really want to go.
I think we have our destination. Huh?
This thing.
Once you touch her, she's gonna. Of course, Molly had to do her little guest appearance on the show.
Hello, Molly.
Let's see. Let her go. She's gonna wait. Otherwise, trust me. Once you touch her, this morning when we went to the coffee shop. Every Sunday, I try to go to the coffee shop down there, and just write a little bit. And she's there with me. And dude, this dog just loves like one touch, done. She will. Yeah. What you looking at, Mal? What you looking at? she once you touch her, khalas, she will keep
she
being touched. But what was I gonna tell you?
She's a little attention.
I have a question that will change a little bit the topic, but just more because we're talking a little bit, I guess, about the social world, and I love to write about the social world. I love.
Yeah, that's your.
So that's my passion, I guess, and currently at least. And I guess my question to you is, how do you feel you've evolved as a social creature in the past year? I know we spoke a little bit about that, but maybe perhaps how can you tell me do you consider yourself a confident person socially?
I wouldn't say so, but I've been told so. So, I think I have been super social and super like outgoing, extroverted in my life.
Okay.
But I also felt at some point that I was being shallow because of that. So I kind of retreated a little bit, and I got into all this introspection and all that kind of thing. So nowadays I just kind of save my efforts a little bit. I don't engage with things that I don't really enjoy.
Good.
So yeah, and in that way I've grown. But it also means that like a lot of people that I meet, I'm just not like super extroverted or like super jumpy in the way that I would be normally.
Mm-hmm. But is there a way to go around that where you still allow yourself to potentially meet them, see if you are a good click, by engaging in some more than just small talk, engaging in the actual meaningful conversation, and then if it goes a certain way, then great, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But because what you're saying to me is, oh, I meet the person, I'm trying to hold my efforts in, I'm reserving myself a little bit. How are you deciding who to reserve it with and who not? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, everyone will say they go by vibes.
Yeah, by energy.
I think that applies to me to a certain extent as well. I think that like at the end of the day, I just feel that if the vibe is right, I'll play along.
Fair enough.
I like someone who can lead a conversation. So preliminarily to act a little bit maybe reserved is good. So just to see how they fare as a sort of leading the conversation.
I understand that. And
then going from engaging to maybe taking over a little bit, and then for me it's that interplay between leading the conversation and just sort of being a little bit more not on the defensive but reactive.
Yeah. I just think that you have to also find a way to like allow yourself to if that initial energy is off, I'm not saying it's wrong, but maybe allow it to change. Because sometimes the energy can be given to you from something, but you lack the context to really understand that energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why I've noticed for me, for example, where I'll meet someone and, I agree with you. It happens where you sense the energy is a little bit off. I'm like, okay, I don't know if you sense it, but what I've done that's really been helpful for me is I kind of reframe myself to remember, okay, what if there's more to the reason they're acting that way? Because the energy is very context dependent, and perhaps the energy, the way that they're exuding the energy is very dependent to the moment, to the nature of where we are, the environment, the perception of what they hold of me, a bunch of factors. So that's why what I've noticed has been really good is once I get to talk to them a little bit and go beyond just small talk by, like you said, initiating the conversation, I always try to give a little compliment, something that I see that is genuine always, of course, but also try to understand a little bit more where they come from, how they see the world, little bit the perspective on things. Once I kind of grasp that a little bit more, then my final decision about the person is a little bit more accurate, because now I've kind of taken all the things. And if my energy is still off after all that, then you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was great to meet you.
I guess that in that way, like it sort of depends on like the sort of relationships you've had over recent times. Because for you, you have to be like that, right? You've been networking so much. You've been just talking to so many people in the past 6 months, 8 months, and you've met like a ton of people that may or may not be interesting or whatever, but you have to find some sort of common ground with them. Otherwise the conversation is just not going to be fruitful. And if you have a string of unfruitful conversations, then you have to wonder, is it me that is not being right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't even think about it that way.
But for me it's been a little bit different, right? I've job hopped a little bit. I've been in 2 different jobs, so the people that I've been meeting, it hasn't been a situation where I have to get along with them right away from the get-go.
Okay.
It's been more of a situation where I get to meet them. I can afford to start a little bit of on the defensive. I don't have to be right away super jumpy with them or like super friendly with them or anything like that, because I have years in my mind. I have years to get along with them, or months.
What if you never see them again?
No, because I'm working with them.
Okay, yeah.
This is the relationships
that
I've been
one day
cultivating. These are the relationships that I've been cultivating in the past months. Is co-workers and people that are going to be staying in my life for a foreseeable future, at least, right? So it's a bit of a different. I guess it depends. Like you said, it depends on context, and I guess it's a different context for the relationships that I've been having to nurture in the past few months.
Yeah. I understand that.
So yeah, but yeah, I kind of get along with my coworkers. I wouldn't say I'm the life of the party at work. I wouldn't want to be either. I think that's fake. If
it's not true to you,
it would be a fake thing of me to do.
Because it wouldn't be true to your nature.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, I think that's the number one thing that we all make mistakes in the social world, is we try to do things that are not true to us.
Yeah.
And that's why the number one thing when I'm asked, or when I want to share with someone, how can you improve in the social world, what do I say?
Just be true to yourself.
Yeah, which is so cliche, but it's like
super cliche.
But it's so hard. But it's so hard to do. Like people don't realize.
It's true. How do you? Okay, and I guess I'm taking over here as. How do you tell people to be themselves? What are the? I saw you released a 7-step guide recently.
On finding a partner.
On finding a partner? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I know, a 7-day guide for social confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you tell people to be true to themselves? What are key steps?
I honestly believe spending some quality time by yourself. Like for me, and this is not like doesn't just mean just go for a weekend by yourself. I genuinely think it's a period of months, if not years. Like for me, ever since I've gotten back here, let's say I came back, I think that my journey in this new season of my life started in November. Right? And from November to where we are now, March, so it's been 4 months, December, Jan, 4 months. I've really gotten to know myself, because you've seen, I've gone out way less. I've seen way less people, but I've done it at the expense of me saying no to them has opened a shit ton of yeses for me, for my own self, which I prioritize, because my whole life, as you know, I feel like I was doing a lot of yeses for a lot of people, which ended up fucking my relationship with myself up. Not to the point where I was like annoyed with myself, but I didn't think I knew myself too well, truly. And I think being able to step back, focus on my passion, focus on what I wanted to do, and find my vision, which I know it isn't what I wanted to do, allowed me to also get to know myself. And like in my latest letter, which I released yesterday, which I don't know if you had a chance to read yet, I think at the very end I put, lately I spent a lot of time with myself, and I I read it. What did you think?
Angry notes.
Yeah, I felt like I really wrote it from the heart.
Yeah.
It felt genuine.
Yeah, it felt super genuine.
I really enjoyed writing that, because I really was going through a period where, especially with a lot of people don't understand what it is I'm trying to do. I know you understand it, because we've spoken about it a couple already times. And I appreciate the support, but a lot of people don't, and they don't need to. Like I've said very, very clearly, I don't need them to understand. But the byproduct of them not understanding has led me to just care about my opinion. And I think that's, to answer your question, is the number one thing you can do if you want to excel in the social world? Because what does excel mean? Excel means what you consider yourself to mean as excel. Like for you, it's what constitutes a good relationship, whatever you deem it to be a good relationship. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But how do you know what that is for you if you don't know yourself? So it's like I said, one of the things I said for someone, if you want to find a partner, is you got to make sure that the things that they judge you on are the same things you judge yourself on. How do you know that? By knowing yourself first. It's always about that. Like, how do I know what I like? How do I know if I like somebody else? Well, know what you like about yourself first and what you want to see in someone else, which you got to know by doing deep introspection first. So it's all about knowing yourself first. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I mean,
how do you go about that?
I think we've talked a lot about this in the past. I took up meditating a couple years ago.
That's a great one. That's like a big part of my answer is that as well. I've gotten to really sit down with my thoughts every single day.
Yeah, I meditate.
What's your meditation process?
So I have a lot. That's the thing.
Cool.
I keep it flexible.
Cool.
Because if you think meditating is for the start, I just sort of sat down and like lived with my thoughts a little bit. But I found that to be a little bit noisy and like not really super productive. Like my default personality might not be so happy to going out without like negative thoughts or something like that. So like me sitting down was just a little bit noisy.
Okay.
And then golfing alone, like doing something that like for me doing sport is so important. And I love going to the gym. I love doing yoga and all these like different so physical activity is huge for me in just like letting me be alone with my thoughts productively and like without the vicious cycles. I feel like doing sport reduces the vicious cycles in your thought processes.
It frees them up, man.
If you sit down and like start to think, like you for me at least, it becomes a vicious cycle. I think of something and then my first answer and then I go right by my instinct. So I try to revisit, but the first thing, like the biggest answer in my mind is always the instinct one.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I get into the vicious cycle because I'm not like allowing myself the physical mobility to actually expand my whole brain map. It's
pretty crazy.
Is how I put it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm moving around or just like looking at different places or something like that, I feel like the simple act of just looking around also works on an introspective level, opens up so many possibilities, so many paths. And for me that works a lot. So I guess physical activity is my best way of meditating.
And that's what I said in the first episode with Jamie. That's how you fucking use your distractions skillfully. Mm-hmm. And again, distraction here meaning what you said, the physical activity. It's such a good way to free up your thoughts and actually allow space for whatever wants to come in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It opens up so much of like I see the brain as a blackboard. I picture my brain as a blackboard.
Okay.
So like when I'm looking at one specific spot, you can find if you put a little chalk dot on a blackboard, that's all you'll be able to look at if you see it, and you only fixate on that. And it might seem like it's such a big black dot on the blackboard, but if you write all over the blackboard, like suddenly the dot falls out of place and nothing is it becomes nothing.
Wow.
Right?
I like that.
Right?
I like that analogy. It's a cool way to look at it, to be honest. Yeah. So that's cool. So you feel like seeing it that way has helped you expand on those thoughts and let those thoughts just go by themselves?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. That's cool. It's cool. I think meditation is so key. So key. You do it every day?
I used to.
Okay.
Not anymore. I'm a lot like that's the thing. It's that's the thing about something that you enjoy. You don't have to do it every day.
I like that. It doesn't feel like an obligation.
It doesn't feel like an obligation. Like when I first started meditating, I had my little checklist of the things that I have to do every day. And then like meditating was one of them. I always try to tick it. and it never got to the point where it was boring. But like for me, it was just like, okay, I don't have to meditate today. I feel like I'm at peace. So I don't. And then,
Fair enough. You
so
don't
I
always need-
meditate when I want to. Nowadays I try to do it a couple times a week at least.
Cool.
Yeah, some sort of physical activity that will get me.
Cool. I like that idea of not making something an obligation by having it on your to-do list every single day.
Yeah.
I like that because I guess it takes away from the intrinsic nature and the internal motivation of it, right?
Yeah, the thing is it's letting it happen naturally. Like regression to the mean is a real thing. So like if you do it almost every day, it's basically the same in a long enough time scale. Is basically the same as doing it every day.
Yeah. That's exactly what my coach who's helping me when I started in this journey, who's been mentoring me now for 3 months. He's a great guy. He should be coming to Spain. His name is Jack. Shout out Jack. He's gonna be coming to Spain in July or August. So hopefully we'll get him on the podcast. We probably will get him on the podcast in real life. It'll be cool. It's cool because a lot of people that I've met online haven't met in person.
Right.
Last week I met one for the first time in person who's living in Spain.
How's that?
It's cool. It's interesting. It's like they're so different on person. Like it's so different. The online world doesn't share as much as even through a camera. Like you really miss on a shit ton of nonverbal and body cues, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Huge.
And like some people don't know how to make up for those on the camera because it's not easy. But so as in seeing that guy in person was cool. So I'm excited to see like somebody who I've spoken to now since November or December. And by the time that he comes here in July, it would have been 7 months that I've been talking to him on the phone. I'm so as if we've had a long distance relationship. I'm curious to see how it's going to be in person.
You're huge on long distance relationships, though.
Yeah.
Is that because you understand the social cues and you have this really good understanding of the social world that like a lot of people don't like long distance relationship and it doesn't work for them on a personal level.
No.
Is that because maybe they are not so good at the social stuff? And maybe you have all these understandings and insights, and maybe that's why you're so good at them.
I don't. Thank you. It's a compliment. I appreciate it. I don't know. It's a great question. Shout out Hannah. It's a great question. I think I've had a lot of practice thanks to Hannah, and I think if I'm able to develop a romantic, personal, intimate, real relationship on the phone, then I can really do any other. Just the stakes are way lower, right? So. And just the overall, the bar is with Hannah is so up because we do talk every day. We're building a real relationship. So with everybody else, talking to them once a week or doing it once and out in in a blue moon,
easy.
It's much easier. So I think that's really been key for me and why a lot of people they ask me that question why do you specialize or why do you want to specialize in this? Because I've done it for a while.
Yeah.
I've really done it for a while, and there's no better way to do it than I should have done it every day. For a really long time. And so I know how to go about it. And I've noticed that the number one thing and my number one tip that I tell everyone is try to smile and keep a positive attitude as much as possible because that can truly be heard and felt, or more importantly, felt. Energy can be felt through a fucking screen more than you can imagine, man. You can, and I think that's the thing is people are so in their heads. We always talk about they're overthinking so much, but it's all in their heads. Truly it's all in their heads.
Yeah.
You cannot see, if already in person, you struggle to understand and properly see, and I'm already struggling right now. I wonder what you're thinking, and it's hard to gauge it in person. Imagine, I'm just giving you an example. Imagine on the computer, man. You have no clue. No clue. What's in your control, though, is smiling, being positive, actually having good energy because that can be felt. So that's my number one thing. But that's why it's so interesting that I'm curious to see when I meet more people online, to then see them in person. I'm sure it's happened to you when we were in the COVID classes, man. Has it not happened to you? When
I wasn't in the COVID classes.
At all? Because for me, when I was in Madrid,
I was a bad student.
Oh, you wouldn't go to the online Zooms, you mean? Oh. Because for me, when I was going to the online Zooms, I remember I was doing them here or in the living room. And somebody who was in my group project, for example, I would go meet them 6 months later, back when Canada reopened and Montreal was back to normal. I was like, no way that's the same person, in everything, because you don't account for the height. That was the craziest part. You don't account for the height, and then the whole body changes everything about how they look, everything. It's truly, you see the posture in your body plays so much into the social dynamic.
True, it does.
Crazy.
It does.
That's my biggest example. Truly, my best example is that because think about it. I'm sure you've met someone, right? You must have met people who you see online. Think about celebrities as well, or football players. When you were like today, we're gonna go see a football game. I'm sure it's happened to you when you've seen them football play. You've gone to a stadium before.
Yeah.
You see them, you're like, whoa, he looks so different than on TV.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's the same thing with the meetings when you meet people on Zoom. Just that now you're really getting even less because you're only usually getting up to here of their face, right? So it's super different, and it really changes the dynamic. Excuse me. Like for me, it's been that I've met someone, like I said, in the online group, and I was talking to them a certain way, and then I meet them in person, and the dynamic is completely different.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's fucking. Which just goes to show, at the end of the day, it's like how important that is, and you can use that to your advantage in the online world.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
People do use it to their advantage. I
You should.
I think that. But it can also be bad. No.
How do you think?
You want the people that are good in real life to like. I guess appearances are deceiving, and like on an online medium you have a lot more control over that appearance. Like you said, you can make the room seem brighter.
Yeah.
Automatically, that's you can't do that in real life.
No.
You can't adjust the brightness that I see you with right now. So yeah, I mean, obviously you have a lot more control. But you also have to be a lot more careful who you meet.
Yeah.
And like for example for business or for anything like that, like doing business with people that you just met online, risky stuff.
True, it really is, man. It really is. That's why it's so interesting to be able to be meeting these people. Like I'm excited to be meeting so many more as time progresses that I've met online, because it'll be a different thing. But hey, listen, I know we don't have much time left because I know we have to leave soon. I'm conscious of the time. And we have to go pick up the others. But before we end, I just wanted, firstly, of course, as always, to thank you for the many years of friendship, for always making the effort to want to see me, especially during my monk mode periods that I've been in the past 4 months. You know, as we were talking about before, I truly got to know myself better than ever, and I do believe that saying no to so many things has allowed me to connect with myself more than ever and to understand myself better than ever, which for me is priceless. And
I'm happy to give you the easy no's.
Say that again?
I'm happy to give you the easy no's.
I appreciate that. But a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people are selfish. So I appreciate you for not being selfish about it. Because a lot of other people, your family, friends, colleagues, they can be very selfish just because they want you to go out, because for them it's way more fun. They want you to go out because they don't want to go out alone. You know?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you for being supportive and understanding and being that way. And before we end, I want to ask you the question that I ask every guest at the end. I know that you mentioned that you're not big into music. I know you listen to music. We didn't talk much about music at all. It's probably the only episode we didn't really dive into music at all, which is cool. I like that. That's the beauty of the Dom's Dance Court podcast, is we talk about anything with anyone, and everybody has a story to share. And that's why people sometimes tell me, who asked me this? Alex the other day, he's like, why are you putting me here? Like, no one cares about my story. I was like, Alex, bro, you have so much. Bro, jazz enthusiast. You're a fucking restaurant owner. You're an author. Like, it's so cool. You have so much to share. And so did you.
I never questioned why you were putting me in the.
I know. I like that.
I know I'm a character.
Fuck it, and I love it, man. And there's so many. Like, I've had the chance of meeting such great people like you, who have such a great perspective to share. I love your philosophy on life. I like your philosophy on it, even though I may not agree on it on everything. I do like. That's what I like about it. That's what we want. That's what a conversation is. It's for us to strive to understand each other, which is what I think we did well today. And putting out a model also for people to understand how it is to have a conversation.
Right.
So right. I appreciate also you asking questions and knowing how to converse. But to go to the question, what is one song that you would like to share with the audience today that either maybe had a lasting impact in your life, one that just comes to mind today? There is no rule to this. It's just, what is one song that you love that you would like to share with people to end the episode with?
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is.
Maybe we can help cue that song by you telling me a little bit the effect that music has in your life.
Right. Let's start with that. So I've had a very seasonal, I think is a good way to put it, relationship with music, I guess. I sort of find myself sometimes like not enjoying it so much, just because I guess that like I'm very obsessive. So like I'll find a song that I like, or like a group or sort of thing that I like, and then just squeeze the shit out of it. and yeah, and I guess that also acts to my detriment, of course. So like I'll find it, then I'm bored. And then I'll find it, then I'm bored. And then I never make the effort to sort of go out and explore all your guests have really niche tastes, and they have all these really cool songs that you need to listen to from artists that I've never heard of. So, so it's very interesting. I
never heard of Bob Dylan?
Oh, someone did.
Alex.
Okay. No, I didn't finish Alex's episode. But so that's interesting. Bob Dylan is cool.
Yeah. And also it's cool to him. Like that's what I want you to do, is to share what's cool to you, man. We're getting to know you here. So
okay. So I was skeptical to say this at first. I've really started to like Limp Bizkit.
Okay, I'm not familiar, for example. You see?
Right.
Now you're showing me a new fucking artist. That's so cool.
So
exactly what I want.
Yeah, so like 2000s rock is
okay, I'm sure
has
Hannah
really
knows it.
been on my mind recently. I love Green Day. I love Limp Bizkit, as I'm telling you, but Limp Bizkit is kind of dark, man. I don't think it represents me.
Okay, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to.
But like it's not something that would be concordant with my way of life, my own personality, my anything. But I really like the music. Really resonates with me. The instruments, the sort of rhythm of it. Like it works for me, but it's not necessarily me. You know. So yeah, 2000s rock has really been on my I guess it's been my current article of obsession.
Cool. What specific songs? We can play that one.
So I'd say let's play Basket Case because I guess I am a little bit of a basket case by Green Day would be a great choice.
Okay, Basket Case by Green Day. That's what we're listening to right now.
Cool.
That's cool, man. Any last words you want to say to sign off? Anything you want to share with the people? Anything? Or just Green Day? Yeah,
I want to say enjoy the song first of all, and then thank you for Dom for putting me to dance on the dance court.
Fuck yeah, I love that. Well, that's it, my man. Much love, and we're listening to
Basket Case by Green Day.
Basket Case by Green Day. Much love, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
About nothing and everything all at once. I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up.